fourth or fifth attempt on doing a live, and I think I worked out the kinks. I gave up on trying to do this on my phone, so I don't think I'm gonna do it again. Uh, I am gonna get another light later, so things should look a little better. But I wanted to give whoever follows my blog, really. This is gonna go to my blog. A little update what's going on with this build, what's going on with me, really, because the last video that I posted about the current guitars that I'm building, I was in the middle of leveling the fretboard, and I'm still there. I didn't finish quite leveling that day. Um, we've just been having some really tough times, my wife and I. We had one of our puppies passed away, like maybe 9 days ago already, and it hasn't been easy on my mental health, I guess, because I mean, I love all my dogs, but I think what really hurts me the most is feeling like I could have done better, like I should have known better. So that's kind of what messed me up. Um, but I'm working through it, and I'm trying to get back on the saddle, so to speak, with my guitar building, which is really what makes me happy. So here I am. But on this guitar, the plan so far, or whatever, how far I'm along with this build. I finished roughing the neck using my router table, which is one of the scary tools that us guitar makers have to use. I finished already, I guess you could say, 80% of the shape of the neck. The headstock is still kind of thick, so I won't do this until I'm done fretting and everything. So it's not fretting, I'm sorry, but I'm done doing the binding on it, and making sure all the fret slots are as deep as they need to be for the frets I'm going to be using. I'm still haven't made up my mind on what type of frets I'm going to use. I have this, which is basically like a medium jumbo fret that I've used in 90% of my builds, and obviously it's my go-to because I think it's the best of both worlds. You have a fret that is not super tall to where only shredders would want them, but also you don't have a vintage type fret that you're gonna wear out kind of fast. And if you like doing those really subtle bends, not subtle bends, I guess fast bending, sweeping and stuff, then vintage frets tend to not be ideal. There's some, I guess I'm gonna try to kill the notifications. I do apologize, whoever, if that's annoying. It might be annoying, but I'm getting messages there, so maybe if I mute it, you guys won't. Yeah, another thing I guess I'm doing with this live feed is I'm not using my phone for it. I'm using my tablet, and I think it's gonna work better. For one, because I'm getting old, so if somebody types, I can read. My phone it's way harder. But number two, which is I think it's even cooler, is I can kind of check what's going on using my phone as this is happening. So let me see if I can mute this, and that way, how's it go? Somebody can tell me how to mute a conversation on WhatsApp. You'll be my hero. I'm not sure I know how to do it. But anyways, well, let's just talk. Let's just talk about guitars. I guess that's why people are on here, right? So the thing about working with this wood, chonta, which is one of the features of this build, is the chonta is really, really hard material. If you grab a piece of chonta, you smack it just like that, it feels like I'm hitting, I don't know, ebony or something. Look at that. I discovered recently that that's one of the reasons why this wood was used by some of the natives to make other instruments. So like something equivalent to a marimba. I know it's Caribbean, but they have something very similar, and they use chonta for that very reason. Because look at that, I'm hitting it with metal. It's just super hard. But as cool as it might be to have a super hard material for your fretboard, it also makes it really hard to work with because you know, uh, it's not one of those things you're going to get to the depth of the fret in a couple of strokes. I just to do one fret probably takes me, 3 minutes. And that sounds crazy, but it probably takes me 3 minutes to get to the right depth without messing stuff up because in it being it's so hard, the my saw tends to bind, and then the other day when I was doing this, and this is why I say, especially on the neck, um, if you're not patient enough to do it or you're doing something and you get annoyed, just go away, do something else because this requires all the patience you can save up, all the patience you can muster. So yeah, so do just cutting the frets to a decent depth, and they might not be final. Took me maybe like an hour on this wood, um, and obviously that's because I'm doing it by hand. If that's a good, I guess a good reason to use the CNC. But I am not that proficient in CNC work. I do have one. I'm gonna come clean there, but I'm not that great at it. And I'm not that great at it, partially because of the very beginning of my guitar building venture. I felt like if I use a CNC, the guitar wouldn't be real, like it wouldn't have the mojo of the hand-built instrument. But I think that was uh, mainly ignorance of my part because uh, even if you have a CNC is just a tool. Even if you have a CNC, the amount of work you have to put in to make a guitar is still a lot. Um, some people don't believe me when I say this, and I guess if I didn't know any better, I would think somebody's lying. But it takes me a month or so to make a guitar, and that's even uh, and that's more so because some of the stuff you have to do you can't really rush. Like when you're doing finishing, for example, there's no way to do finishes fast. No way. There's no way you can spray a coat of lacquer, for example, and 10 minutes later, sand and buff and what have you. You have to wait days. And then sometimes you'll make a mistake, and I've been there before, and it's the most frustrating thing in the world. And you don't know until a few days have passed. Like I've had one of the most annoying things that can happen on guitar finishing is wax contamination. So I've been, let's call it 80% done with the build. I started to do the finishing on the instrument. I'm spraying colors. It's looking pretty good, or what have you. But I'm doing a burst, right? For example. So I haven't hit the front of the guitar just yet. And then I go do a clear coat. And then 2 or 3 days later, I'm looking at it, and there's one particular part of the finish that looks really weird. It looks just there's something going on there. And sure enough, it can be because of wax contamination. So, and you might ask, why then do you have wax around your guitar? And the truth of the matter is that wax is very, very useful for a lot of things, and not just guitar making, but woodworking in general. To prevent your tools from rusting is one of them. But also another reason why you want to use wax when you're making guitars is it's actually a really good way of protecting your fretboard before you start gluing frets. So, can you glue frets without wax? Yeah, of course, but you're gonna spend so much work cleaning afterwards. So especially if you're using super glue, the way that I've been doing it, um, you're gonna be, using something like this, like a razor, for hours, getting that clean. And then sometimes you get frustrated enough to where you think you can go fast, so you got the hang of it, and then boom, you put a small scratch on your fretboard, and then your heart is broken. Don't ask me how many times I've done that, but I've done it more than I can count at this point. So that's a good reason to use wax. Another good reason to use wax, which is possibly the reason why I started using it, is for your hand clamps. Even though I do have a jointer, it's over there. Obviously you can't see it right now. These contraptions, these ancient contraptions, work best not only when they're sharpened as they're supposed to be, but when they're waxed. You know, if you have um, the sole, it's called the sole of your hand plane starting to rust, which could happen. Obviously, in my environment more so. If you're new here, you've never seen this video before, and you have no idea who's this dude talking, what is this dude talking about? Where is he? I'm in the middle of a rainforest in Ecuador, and as the name suggests, it's extremely humid. And I am maybe 3 miles away from the beach. So it's not only humid, there's a lot of salt in the air. So things here rust. They rust. So I have to fight back. And yeah, and one of the ways to fight back is with wax. So where was I going with this? Why do I have wax? Yeah, I guess I'm just pointing out the fact that this takes a really long time to do. You know, and there's some things that you simply can't rush. So so the plan today, besides doing the live feed and possibly getting some input from anybody who's watching, tell me if this is working good. If you can hear me well, that would be amazing. Um, is doing the binding canals. Obviously, before I do the binding, I already have some of that cut. I'm going to try to show it here in the camera. I don't know how well you can see that. This is also a local timber. It's called. Well, the locals call it. I forgot the actual name, but the locals call this timber. They call it cuero de sapo, which, if I translate it, it would be um, toad leather. Why do they call it toad leather? I have no clue, but it's really awesome lumber. There's a guitar in my Instagram. You can. It's been a year since I built it, but you can see it. It's one of my headless models. Well, this one is not headless, but it's based on a headless model. And it has a beautiful top with two green, they kind of look like rivers going through them, and the rest has a little bit of flame, a little bit. Well, that one, oop, is this working? I'm getting some lag. Can somebody tell me if you can hear me well, please? You know, I see a couple people on there, and I want to make sure I'm not talking to the void. Somebody can say, hey, yeah, it's working. That would be amazing. I'll appreciate it. So anyways, so the plan here, what I'm up to right now, is to do the binding on this neck today, and maybe even start fretting. Maybe even start fretting. Um, and I say start fretting because fretting on at least for me, fretting on a neck with binding takes me a really long time. There's a tool you can get for making it work way faster, but all that I use is a fret cutter file, and I think the tool's called Fret Tag Nipper. You can get one from StuMac, but I've become this kind of person. As I guess as I'm getting older, it's like I fight with myself every single day and convince myself I do not need another tool. But it's a constant fight, and I lose sometimes. But I think I put a lot of excuses my whole life. I put a lot of excuses as to why I'm not getting something done, and I say, oh, that's because I don't have the tool. So I'm trying to get rid of that. I'm trying to get rid of that mentality. I'm sorry, you know, I really need to figure out how to mute this. Edit. Don't know how to mute it. Yeah, and I guess it could. I'm sure somebody's getting annoyed by it because I'm getting annoyed. All right, so. Oh, I guess my uncle just sent me a message saying that he can hear me, so that's good. All right, for the next live stream. Oh, thank you, uncle. Thank you. That's awesome. Somebody, he had to come to the rescue. For the next live stream, I'm gonna mute the chats so that you don't get those notifications on the screen. Um, So anyways, yeah, so today I'm gonna do the binding of this. There's one really tricky part on necks, and it's not on this neck, it's not on necks. And I think I'm gonna probably grab a template so that I can show it better. This is this is actually a neck that I started um, more than a year ago now. That's kind of depressing. But and I didn't finish, and I didn't finish because I'm not convinced anymore that this is the right headstock for this model. This is a multi-scale model that my brother and I uh, have been working on for a while now. I, this is a really cool story. I'm not gonna say the name of the artist because I don't want to make I want to make sure that I don't do anything that would jeopardize his contracts. But my brother befriended a really famous musician, somebody that both me and him have looked up to for 20 something years, and it was like in many ways like a dream come true, kind of meeting a hero, right? And my brother on a whim told the guy, said, hey, my brother Andres is making you a guitar. And and why did he say that? Well, first of all, they had become friends rather quickly. They met on one of the guitar camps. I don't know if it was a Steve Vai guitar camp. I can't remember right now. But anyways, they became friends, and then um, they started to hanging out outside the camp. And it turns out that this particular artist had a friend who, from a Spanish-speaking country, he doesn't speak Spanish. Well, I'm giving some hints there, but nobody's gonna guess. It doesn't matter. And so my brother kind of fit in because we were bilingual, my brother and I. Actually, even more languages than that. But anyways, so they started talking, what have you, became friends, even went out drinking, having a meal. And then my brother says to the guy, hey, by the way, I spoke with my brother, he's making your guitar. So they become friends. He tells me that, and um, like, right, no pressure. So uh, there's in this channel you can find a series. You can see the guitar being completed because I did take it all the way till the end, but there's some parts that I didn't film. A terrible story again. Part of living in the farm. I had my older dog died then, and then I didn't finish recording. I couldn't be in front of a camera, but I did finish the guitar, and I show the guitar on that video. So I think there's 3 or 4 parts you can find on the channel. And um, where was I going with this? That's crazy. I am like losing track of everything. And that's what this neck is for. But this is like one of the first shapes that we made for the neck. And then on the newer models, we've actually expanded this would-be headstock. Obviously, it's a headless model because putting the hardware on something so tiny, it's very difficult. So, and why am I showing you this? Just to make a point. If you were to try to do binding on something like this, right, I guess you could try to steam bend wood. I do my binding, I should say, all the binding that I do with wood. I don't use plastic binding. I have nothing against plastic, by the way. I think it can look amazing. I just can't get that stuff here. And but I want the look. So how do you make it happen if you cannot get your stuff? Well, you use what you got. So I'm trying to do contrasting woods on the binding, but doing these kind of corners, bending the wood here it's very difficult. And and if somebody can teach me how to do it, because again I don't have all the answers, that would be amazing. But every single time I've tried, I break the wood, and I'm sick and tired of wasting awesome material. So that's what's happening also with this neck. I have some sharp corners for the binding over here at the end. Some sharp corners, and I know I'm not going to be able to do it properly. At least not with my current tooling or my current skills. And something I need to learn. Um, there's a there's a guy I follow, really cool guitar channel. Shout out to him if he ever watches this. I want to say I got inspired today because he's attempting to build a classical guitar, and he's an electric guitar builder like me, and he's jumping headfirst into building an acoustic guitar, which is way more difficult. I don't care what anybody says; it's way more difficult. But he's not going the easy route and just buying all the tools from StewMac and stuff, which you could do. He's actually making his tools, which is another important step of becoming good at your craft, at your art. I think it's going through the experience of making your tools. So he started to do a classical guitar, and you would think, you would think because it's his first classical guitar build, that he's gonna take it easy, that he's gonna look at the book and go by the book and just follow all the rules. No, he's going crazy. And his name is Dave. Um, Maybe I'll put it in the comments when this becomes a regular video on the channel, so somebody can follow him if you don't know of him. But I messaged him today. Well, I left a comment saying he's my spirit animal because he's brave. Like he doesn't care. He's not gonna do a classical guitar. He's gonna do a very difficult build with inlays and what have you, for his first classical guitar, which is crazy. So I guess today I came here to work on this neck, a little bit inspired by Dave, and I'm like, oh, you know what? Yeah, I can't seem to do the bending and what have you. I'm gonna use the wood, but I didn't want to do it square here in the front like I normally would do, so it's easy. So it's basically not a 90-degree joint, but almost 90-degree joint. Um, I'm I'm gonna do a nice round over. Now, doing a nice round over is gonna require some steam bending. So I guess that's what's gonna have to happen. If I can come up with another way to do it, I guess better. I'll wait to not mess it up, but I haven't thought of one as of yet. So that's the plan for today. I'm gonna be doing the binding. I'm gonna be doing some of the frets, and since the live is working, yeah, I want to make a video and let whoever follows my guitar builds know why I haven't continued. This week is probably gonna be not that great also for my guitar building because I'm getting ready to take a trip. I'm taking another guitar to the US, one that sold, which is awesome. But I'm also having to deal with family stuff, car stuff. I have to go into the city and go get my wife's car. So, well, anyways, that's another story for another day. Yeah, one thing I wanted to put on the video, and I guess for those who like this kind of stuff, is if you were to watch this later on, and you want to leave me suggestions, because what I would really like to do with these live feeds, well, that's my plan right now. It can change in the future, but this is my plan. I'm thinking, since this is basically like you walking into my shop and pulling a chair and we're just having a chit chat while I do what I do. Maybe we can make it to where I can schedule a live feed and then we can do a particular subject on guitar building for that live feed. And I would like to know if that sounds interesting. Meaning, let's say, I'm gonna put this out there, who cares? Let's say that through suggestion they say, hey, what about how do you select your wood? So what it is that the process, I guess, to selecting material for a particular guitar build, and we can just have a chat on that. You know, maybe some people can share how they do it. I could tell them why I picked the ones that I picked, and some of the myths, I guess, that you hear about wood selection. And that could be a conversation, but it doesn't have to be me just in here building, but it can be like whoever is participating of the live, even if it's a couple of people, it doesn't matter. Saying what you know, what you think it's true, and then what I've through experimentation and years of messing with this stuff, think about that, you know. So I think that would be better. Of course, just setting up the camera and doing the live, nothing wrong with that, but I think it would be more productive. Is that that's the right word? More productive, more enriching, even for me, because that way, if we're having a deep dive on something, I can do more research before the day of, and therefore the conversation could be edifying from myself as well. Anyways, I think I'm gonna kill the live for now. I'm gonna get to work. I'm 24 minutes in, but I know now that this live is working, which is amazing and makes me happy. But I promise next time I'm going to have the notifications turned off and it'll be even better. All right, thank you for watching.